Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Bracket Brothers, brought to you by SAC Comedy Lab. Please give it up for your hosts, Sean and Pat.
Hey, everybody.
Hey. Welcome to Bracket Brothers.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Bracket Brothers.
Ooh, didn't like that.
I'm Sean.
I'm Pat, and we are brothers.
Yes. We are brothers IRL. We are brothers AFK. We are brothers in the internet. We love brackets. We love you. Hopefully.
And we love the hate.
Oh, thank you, Pat. We do love our haters. Before we get into it, hopefully some of you have seen the show before. We're not getting into the super nitty gritty, but essentially we're going to go through a bracket that we made of something from pop culture. This week is cartoons. So we got tunes coming at you, mostly 90s and 2000s cartoons. We had to narrow this bad boy down to 16. So because of that, there are a lot of missing shows, and I'm sure some of your favorites are missing. And all I have to say is hit the bricks. We don't care. We love your hate. We love the fact that you hate it. We want you. We feed off of it. It fuels us. Drop in the comments right now. What did we miss? What shows did we miss? Drop them in the comments. We can't wait to hear it. Can't wait to feel the hate. We live in it. We thrive on it. I think, Pat, do you want to get our guests in here right away? Right up the
Absolutely. So for every show, always is my audio okay? We're always joined by three special guests. So this week is none different. We are welcoming our friends Lorraine, Akmal, and Tony to our show. Bring them in. Bring them in. We've got Lorraine with us. There's Akmal. And Tony, welcome, guys. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here with us this week. We're really pumped. Lorraine, let's start with you. Thank you for being here with our cartoon show. We like to think we pick our guests for certain reasons. So why are you pumped to talk about cartoons?
Well, in your guys' words, you said I was your insider because I work for Nickelodeon. That was what you said. I would like to say, though, I do work for Nickelodeon, but all of the views and beliefs expressed on this program do not reflect Viacom, CBS, Nickelodeon, or its affiliates.
Wink. We get it.
Wink. Great. We got to get the legal stuff out of the way. Akmal, thank you for joining us today, bud. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm just chilling.
Great. That's all we can ask.
Solid intro from Akmal. And last but not least, we have Tony. Tony, what do you love about these crazy, wacky tunes?
I love them all, Sean and Pat. I'm just so happy to be here. Happy to be part of the conversation.
I will say a little spoiler alert for later in the program. Tony, we did find some, I don't want to say embarrassing, enlightening Halloween costumes from Tony's youth and not so long ago youth that we're going to bring up later. So stick around for that. It's going to be really exciting. So, as a reminder, we're going to be going through this bracket, trying to figure out what wins each matchup, finally bringing us to our victor. And then at any moment, we may abstain from a vote, and we're going to throw it to you in the audience. So if you really want to make your voices heard, make sure you got your finger exercises going so you can type quick, because we will be coming to you. We love our comments. You guys, my mom's already in here. My mom loves Spongebob. SpongeBob. Actually, you know what? Before we get into it, we do need to introduce our regions. So if we want to bring up my other screen, we're going to walk you through why this bracket looks like it does.
Wait.
First up, we have up in the top left, we have my cursor in the wrong place. We have Rugrats, Doug, Hey Arnold, and Recess, which is, of course, the literal children bracket. These are the shows that are based on actual children, honestly, just going about their lives. It's not that interesting until you really get into their wacky imaginations. Top right, we have, of course, the animal region. We have SpongeBob, who is a sponge, Rocco, which is a wallaby, Courage, which is a dog, and Ducktales, who are different ducks. On the bottom left, of course, this one's pretty straightforward. If you're a fan of our show, we have Avatar, Pokemon, Batman, the animated series, and Powerpuff Girls, which, of course, the transportation region. You have Avatar, which flies around on that big old baby. What is it?
It's a sky bison.
Flying sky bison. Pokemon, they travel around those little balls. Batman, he's got that Batmobile. And, of course, the Powerpuff Girls, who can fly their own asses around because they do what they want. And then, of course, in the bottom right, you know it. It's the grown-ups region. These are shows all featuring grown adults who have been animated for child and adult pleasure. So that's a weird way to say that. So
Didn't like that.
here it is, bright and shiny. Hopefully you all printed this out at home. You filled it out. You're going to play along with us. Pat, anything else before we dive right in?
Per the usual, keep the hot topics hot, keep the chat going. To our guests, remember you have your hill to die on. So you've got 1 minute of uninterrupted time to speak your truth. Hopefully it has to do with the bracket, but honestly, there are no rules when you've hit your hill to die on button. And with that, because we've run short on time almost every week, let's get right into it with our first matchups of the night. Rugrats versus Recess.
This is a good one. We got classic Nickelodeon versus classic, well, not classic, newer Disney. I don't know. What do you guys? These are children. We got children playing. Who's got opinions?
Yeah, this one is not even a no-brainer to me. Recess out right away. Rugrats is far superior. Recess was boring. So that's gonna be one Reptar bar for me.
Oh no! The
Oh
props.
my God.
We were warned.
I told you I have a lot of props.
Got some Reptar socks on.
Hell yeah.
So my vote is going with that because I will never. There are things that are ingrained in my brain from childhood, and one of them is when they see Reptar on Ice, and it's the song from Reptar on Ice that I'll never get out of my brain. Dinosaur, dinosaur, ancient enemy of man. Anyway, so my vote is going with Rugrats.
Rugrats, great show, great introduction. I learned how to play the introduction song on a xylophone in band because I was a band geek. Very easy to play. Everybody should go and learn it. Check out YouTube. It created a great spin-off. Well, not a great spin-off, but a decent spin-off. But I do want to give Recess a shout out for being, I don't know, I didn't think Recess is a bad show. I think it's a great dynamic of like kids at school and surrounding recess and all of that kind of stuff. It had a good movie. The Recess movie is actually pretty good. But we're talking about the show, and to me, it's a no-brainer as well. It's going to have to be those dang babies.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that Rugrats is what should take this part of the thing. I remember learning to read the entry, the title card. I remember asking my parents, what does it say? It's you got to read it yourself. That's how I guess I'm showing my age, but that was a big thing for me. And also the first movie was an event in my life. Everybody was freaking out about the first Rugrats movie. So.
I went on a school
trip on that orange VHS.
Yeah.
So I know I was told that, the show always runs short on time, so I'm not going to try and take up too much of it. Recess was a show about a group of friends hanging out at a school during a recess hour. And Rugrats was about babies hanging out during baby hours and their imagination taking them to all sorts of amazing places, locations, fighting creatures, defeating insecurities. Gosh, it almost doesn't even matter what my opinion is. I guess I'd have to. No, yeah, Recess. Rugrats is, yeah, of course.
All right, let's go ahead and vote. Thank you so much, Akmal. Akmal Tajihan, all the way from New York City.
We love our guests.
We love our guests. All right, so put your hands up. Put your hand up if you'd like to vote for Rugrats.
And that's a clean sweep, baby.
And that's a clean sweep, ladies and gentlemen. So
we love to see it.
All right. Pat, you want to take it to the next one?
Along. I would love to take it to the next one. Let me pull up my personal bracket here. We've got Doug versus Hey Arnold. Now, I gotta say, already receiving a lot of interest with this matchup via the social medias. More heat than I thought it would get as a matchup, because to me, there is a clear winner. But I've found that my clear winner may not be others. So I'll throw it to the guests first. How are we feeling about this matchup?
I will say before we get in, Molly does ask a good question. Is this the Nickelodeon or is this the Disney Doug?
This is the Nickelodeon.
I'm gonna say the Nickelodeon Doug. I didn't hate the Disney Doug, but we're gonna. I mean, this is your interpretation, but in my heart of hearts, I went with this is the Nickelodeon, the OG Doug, the DOUG Doug.
Yeah, I got attacked on social media about this by an Amanda Wirtz. She was very aggressive. I didn't like it. It was
Instigator.
Doug 5 Ever, obviously. She's even commenting on this right now, and it makes me feel a little uncomfortable. But again, there's a clear winner in this one, and that's going to be one heartthrob, Arnold. Yeah, that's going to be a big Arnold for me.
Wow.
The show was top notch. I mean, it was not only was it an artistic interpretation of New York City and jazz culture, but it also really looked into the life of a childless kid, and what that's like. Doug is a less interesting version of Charlie Brown. He's bald, he's stupid, he's boring. He wants to have sex with a mayonnaise jar. No one cares. Doug loses.
Incredible.
Wow.
I will say I think I'm going to go Hey Arnold, although Doug makes a good – the beats alone are enough for me to want to vote for Doug.
The Beats?
The Beats.
Hanging on a trash can.
Thank you.
Oh.
The fictional band from the show Doug.
Oh, you mean the only episode that anyone can ever remember, because every other episode was so boring.
No, I can remember more. I could remember more. So
Do it.
Okay. You won't.
Do it. I dare you. You scared.
not important.
Put
That's
on the
scary.
spot. I think there's going to be a clear winner here, and it is the rightful winner, which will be Hey Arnold. So I think as we get further into the bracket, more needs to be said about Hey Arnold. I do always love especially in shows like Hey Arnold, your bedroom goals. Hey Arnold was like a bedroom goal. Like
Hashtag
that is
bedroom
the
On my list.
I would
hashtag
definitely
bedroom
go
goals.
bedroom,
Drop
yeah.
the hashtag in the chat.
I would love
Hashtag
to get him in the bedroom.
Hashtag bedroom
bedroom
goals.
goals.
If anyone else has a different bedroom goal, let us know. Right now, Hey Arnold is winning. So.
Yeah, he is winning. A lot of talk about a sneaker episode and a lucky hat in the chat. And Amanda is the only one that seems to be very upset about the hate coming about Doug. So I think it's best if we just move along and we put this to a vote. We have lost Akmal. He has officially gone completely bored. So we'll see how the votes go. If we need to get Akmal to break this tie, if there's a tie. But please, voting away. Raise your hands if you're voting for Hey Arnold. And that is most likely a clean sweep. It seems like Akmal probably had some strong opinions. These are streaming shows. As if you've seen any other SAC show, technology is not always perfect, so we may lose people now and then, but hopefully
Right.
Akmal will be
We
back.
are-
That was
and
truly a finger slip on my part.
Oh, never mind. Not a technology issue.
Oh,
just
user
human
error.
Comment, and I hit leave on accident.
Great. All right. Well, you missed Hey Arnold winning, so that's what you missed.
Damn.
All right, moving on. This one is going to be tough. So we have Avatar: The Last Airbender versus the Powerpuff Girls. Now, I do want to say I'm gonna come out and say this. Lorraine called me on my own BS. So when we first sent this out, we had no shows with like hardcore female protagonists. And so we did some talking and we put Powerpuff Girls in there. They were in the running. Background, Patrick and I had 45 shows that we whittled down to 16. So I'm glad, Lorraine, you called me out. I'm glad we got this one in there. But I also think it speaks to the fact that there weren't a whole lot of female protagonists, female-led shows. Probably still aren't.
You have Sailor Moon, you have Daria, you have Powerpuff Girls, you have Totally Spies. I could go on.
As told by Ginger.
As told by Ginger.
And the
The
man.
Proud Family. I mean, there's plenty.
It's fair. It's fair. But we put Powerpuff Girls in here. I'm glad we did. This is going to be a tough one. I don't know. I will say I'm a latecomer to the Avatar world. I only just saw it for the first time like a couple months ago when it went on Netflix. And it's incredible. It's an incredible show. I always just kind of chopped it up. I'm not a big anime guy, and I always assumed it was like an anime. And I was wrong. And it's incredible. And that's all I have to say. If you haven't seen it, go see it.
So, what's your vote for Avatar?
I'm going to be voting for Avatar.
Okay. This one's really tough for me. As you can see, I have Appa and I have Naga because I love both Avatar and Korra. I even have my adorable little Aang. I mean, look how precious. He's very, very cute. I love Avatar. I got into it as an adult. I didn't watch it as a child, but it is pretty much a perfect show. It's very clean from beginning to end. It has pretty much one plot line. You know, it's a classic hero's journey. So there's a lot of really valuable redeeming characteristics about Avatar. However, I have to, because I love these two shows so much, I have to look at it from, you know, what impacted me most in my life. And I have to say that Powerpuff Girls was a social phenomenon. It was a movement. It was a culture. It was a lifestyle. And it was something I was very deeply ingrained into. So for me, I'll introduce you to my dog. That's fine. But for me, this one, it has to go to the Powerpuff Girls because for young women like myself, I think probably Tony as well, it was a very impactful show of our youth and showing that girls could do more than, you know, just braid our hair and paint.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, you know what? Avatar gets all the hype. People loving it. That's not going to stop. If Avatar doesn't make it further in the bracket, that's not going to stop the love for Avatar. It's got its time. Let's move on. Powerpuff Girls was big. I remember I was like, should I feel weird that I'm watching a show with all girls as a boy? Because, you know, I grew up in a bad culture like we all did. You know, but I think, like, yeah, it probably did shape me in a way. There was that one, like, what was that character's name? That, like, creepy red devil?
Him.
There was him, a male character dressing androgynously. And again, I know we have so little time for the show and we don't want to, but I just also just.
All right, Tony,
All
what do you
right.
got?
I just have to say who my vote is. It's real hard to pick between these two. No, it's Powerpuff Girls all the way. And I totally resonated with Bubbles. I was a huge crybaby when I was little. Surprise. And I mean, she proved to me that I could be a crybaby, but also kick ass. So, you know, it's a huge thing. Huge thing. So
That is
Powerpuff
big,
Girls.
yeah. Well, I might be smelling an upset here, so in case it does go away, I do just want to give a shout out to Avatar as being what I think is actually a genuinely perfect show. It didn't run that long. It caused a spinoff and now might be causing another spinoff now that Netflix has gotten involved. We won't get into all that. If you haven't watched Avatar, I would implore you to watch it. It's an easy watch, but it teaches every lesson a kid should teach. It's incredibly topical given the circumstances of the political environment in today's world. That being said, though, Powerpuff Girls is an incredible show. It has your women protagonists. It has it bridges over the arcs of sexual orientation with their villains. Again, things that went over our heads as kids.
Pat, is there anything you want to say that everyone hasn't already said about Powerpuff Girls before we vote?
Just that I like it, and I'm sad that I'm probably going to vote against it, but hopefully it moves on. Well, yeah, Aquaman, what do you want to say?
All right, so we're going to go ahead and vote. Oh, wait, Lorraine, what do you got?
I do want to say that what's happening on Netflix is it's not a spin-off of Avatar, but it is a live action reinterpretation of Avatar to make up for what was an atrocious movie that scarred many, many people. So they're doing a live action remake of the entire series. However, recently, and I'll make this quick, the two original creators have dropped out of the Netflix original series due to creative differences. So yes, we're concerned. And by we, I mean just like the general we.
Nickelodeon, got it.
Yes.
No.
All right, let's throw it to a vote.
Didn't think she'd speak for the company, but here we are. Okay, so hands up if you'd like to vote for Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I'm sorry.
Wow, Powerpuff Girls is going to move on. Congrats.
Oh God.
I will say, we do, like I've said before, we do love our haters. We are going to get a lot of them.
Funny thing about me is I'm actually motivated by my haters. I don't know if anyone else has felt the same way.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I'm the first person saying that, but I definitely feel motivation from them.
Wait. PowerPoint was not up. Okay. Moving on, we are moving into the animals region of the bracket. The top right, or no, I'm sorry, we're still at the bottom left. We have Pokemon versus Batman, the animated series. These are kind of two different worlds in my brain. I will say, it's a weird matchup. My lovely fiance, her ringtone is the Batman the Animated Series song. It has been. I don't think it'll ever change. I'm not a huge Pokemon guy. Just gonna say it.
I used to be a really big Batman fan, but over time, as I've grown as a person, I think society has changed. The idea of a rich man, instead of investing into the community he wants to fix, just buy new cool toys you can use to beat up poor people who are working for bad people. That doesn't really make him a sustainable hero in my eyes. And
so, just so we're clear, Akmal, you prefer the people who catch creatures and treat them as slaves and force them to fight each other instead. That's your
They don't even play. They have good life.
I am part of the catching a creature and making them your buddy, making them your friend. Yeah. And yeah, my cat, I make him fight sometimes, but that's because I'm a coward. I can't fight my own fights.
My bottom line is that I wasn't begging my mom for gold-plated Batman cards in the Burger King drive-thru. So that's where I'm at.
That's fair. Batman's my favorite superhero of all time, but I honestly never connected well with the show. While Pokemon, I think, created a incredible universe, wonderful video games, spin-offs. Again, an emotional movie that made us all cry if you've seen the first Pokemon movie. So for me, this is actually a no-brainer. The chat is leading a different direction, so I'll be interested to see how we all vote. But go back. The original Pokemon, it expanded into a universe that is uncontrollable now. But looking back at what I watched as a kid, I did love Pokemon.
All right.
This is easy for me. Do not like superheroes. They're not interesting to me at all. Batman included. So that's going to be one gotta catch 'em all from me.
Oh my God.
All right, put it on the board. That is the first gotta catch 'em all from Lorraine. We'll put that on the board. All right, so hands up for Pokemon. Oof. Okay, Pokemon moves on.
Bye-bye, Batman.
Bye-bye, Batman.
Sorry, buddy.
Bye,
All right,
bye.
Pat, you want to take him through? You want to take him to the next one?
Absolutely. So we're moving to the top right of the bracket. Am I right?
That's correct, sir. We have Spongebob versus Ducktales. Sorry to cut you off. It just popped up on my screen.
It's all good. Spongebob versus Ducktales. Look, Ducktales, woohoo. We all loved it, but we all know the real winner here. As quoted by one of my dear friends, who quotes SpongeBob as being our generation's Shakespeare, in that anybody could start a quote from SpongeBob, and most people of our generation in that room can finish that quote, because that's how good, especially early SpongeBob was. SpongeBob,
That's like insinuating people finished Shakespeare quotes.
Yeah.
Our generation, in Shakespeare's time, like when he was the biggest writer at that time, I think he was probably very quotable. To the point
This is a bad argument.
No, it's a great line.
Only quotable to men, because I don't think women were allowed to read back then.
Yikes. Also, I do want to address earlier, I saw a comment questioning my putting SpongeBob in the animals bracket.
They're all animals. The whole joke.
SpongeBob is a sponge. Sponge is an animal. So
sorry, y'all.
Patrick
water, under the sea. Every character is an animal in this show.
Actually, that's not true. There are two characters that are not animals, and that is Mermaid. So I guess if you do take them into consideration, there are not all animals on that show.
That's fair. Plus, the dirty bubble was a bubble. For me, it's easy. It's SpongeBob. But again, if anybody else has opinions here, speak up.
I only remember the theme song from DuckTales. I don't remember anything that really happened in it. And I know you can't jump into a pile of coins without dying. So,
Fair. I will say, so we made a decision to only include one of the Disney afternoon shows, which also would include like Tailspin, Goof Troop, Gargoyles, etc. We made the call because these shows were mostly when you had to pay for the Disney Channel, and that feels very elitist to put more than one of those on here. DuckTales feels like the most universally known. Probably because of it's also they've redone it. It just came out like 3 years ago or something like that. There's a new version. My dad would like a tour of Lorraine's visual aids after the show, by the way. And so, yeah, I think this one's an easy one. I do love DuckTales. I love the Disney afternoon as a whole, but I think just going with one, I mean, SpongeBob has had such a huge, I mean, my gosh, just the memes alone, people.
Yeah, I'd like to say, if you don't vote for SpongeBob, it's kind of an affront to Steve Hillenburg, the creator who just passed away. So if you don't vote for SpongeBob, you're kind of like, throwing sand in a dead man's eyes. I just wanted to say that.
Which is a waste of sand, in my opinion.
All right, let's put this to a vote.
Build a castle, do something with it.
SpongeBob versus DuckTales. If you want to vote for SpongeBob, raise your hand.
That's going to be a SpongeBob, me boy.
That's a clean sweep. We all saw it coming. Moving right along.
Before we do,
Disney just did not have very good cartoons. I mean, like
they didn't have it.
They were not strong. Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon carried the 90s as far as cartoons were concerned. I think that they were just stronger.
We did, when we made the bracket, we tried to spread shows across different universes and networks, and it was like Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, and then a huge jump to like Disney and then even other. So before we move on, I do want to jump into the first of our Tony photos. So this was Tony as, I believe, SpongeBob. I don't know if, Tony, you want to take us through this once the screen comes up.
Sure.
And then once we show this one, we do have a couple that are going to lead into our next. So we're going to show like 3 pictures in a row here. So
that's not that bad.
I must have been like 14 here, I think, which seems too old now. I really phoned it in. I don't know who was taking pictures at that party, but they weren't warning anyone. So I hope I had fun. Probably.
So, and then the next picture is going to lead us into our next matchup, which is Rocco's Modern Life versus Courage the Cowardly Dog. Do you want to walk us through this? Because this is, I think, an incredible costume.
This is Dr. Paula Hutchinson, also known as Hutch, and she marries Filbert the turtle in the series, and they have 3 lovely children. And that's her. She has a hook hand and everything. Yeah.
And then last but not least, we do have one more.
So good.
Yeah.
That is very good.
My friend Chris and I dressed up like Eustace and Muriel.
I thought these were supposed to be embarrassing. These are amazing.
Oh, well, good.
I never said they're embarrassing. I just said they were a blast from her not so distant past.
Okay.
Yeah, that was definitely like college. And then the Hutch one was like last year.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So there
Tony,
you go.
thank you for giving us that, and congratulations on putting together incredible costumes or cosplay, as you could say.
I didn't even know what it was back then. That's how long ago.
You were doing it the whole time.
Wow, early punk rock cosplay scene. I mean, people were
didn't
just
care.
doing it back then. They were just putting stuff on.
Back then, they just called them a costume. Crazy times.
All right, so we have Rocco's Modern Life versus Courage the Cowardly Dog. I'm just going to quickly get my out of the way. I have seen maybe 2 episodes of Courage the Cowardly Dog. I know it's good. I've never really watched it. I've seen every episode of Rocco's like 100 times. It's a no-brainer for me, but I'd love to hear everyone's opinion.
So this is hard for me because I definitely watched more Courage than I watched Rocco, but my prop is Rocco related. So I feel like that decides itself. I love Courage the Cowardly Dog though for its kind of like visual storytelling though. Like it's like suspension of terror, and like the way that it built like throughout the episode was just, it was like pre-horror for kids almost. Like it just was really good. And like it was just always very captivating, and they could do a lot with a little words, which I think is it's a feat as far as, children's animation. Like it's a lot of showing rather than like telling. Rocco though, I think pound for pound is probably a better show though. It's really tough for me. I'll listen to everybody else before I make my decision on this one.
2 words: wacky deli. That's it.
Those are 2 words.
I'll say I know that Rocco's is a better show, and I've heard.
Did you say Ronco?
I heard Bonko Ronco dog guy was better show overall. But as a child who was always scared and truly terrified to like watch Courage, but still making it through it, because I'm like, if Courage can make it through this, so could I. I'm scared, but it's okay to be scared because he does it in the end. I think that message resonated with me like more than anything.
I always thought of Rocco as like the tamer Ren and Stimpy, because I think growing up I was a little too young to really love Ren and Stimpy, but Rocco was like just weird enough, like flinging weird boogers and like getting real gross with it, but also like my mom let me watch it. So, but I could see Courage winning this. I don't know. This will be interesting.
All right, I'll say my 2 cents, which is that I admire Rocco's, and Rocco has always been the show that people talk about around me, and I'm like, yeah, this is such a great show, and I genuinely don't remember a lot of it. I know like the main things of Rocco. I know the bigger episodes. I have this very specific image of him trying to pick up a coin off a table, but he bites his fingernail, so he couldn't get it up. However, that being said, to me personally, the obvious choice is Courage. Courage had, as somebody said in the chat, incredible animation. It had such a great standard for every episode of having this like blank canvas of just this house in the middle of nowhere, and like anything could happen there. A building would be built in 2 seconds. A weird tree grows. A river comes through. Something breaks open in the ground, and it has as somebody who's obsessed with horror now, and it was the precursor to horror, like Lorraine said. So it was a terrifying show. It has images that have stuck with me. It was such one of the most unique shows. I genuinely think a show ahead of its time, a show I'd love to see actually maybe try to be made again in the future. But and I see everyone agreeing with me, and I'm really excited that everyone's on the same page. Aqua plays guitar. So
right,
it looks like it's not looking good, but yeah.
We got to vote. All right. So hands up if you'd like to vote for Rocco's Modern Life. All right, Hilda Dion, I'm pushing my button. Give me my minute. This is insane. This is stupid and insane, and I knew I should have invited older people onto this show who would appreciate good cartoons.
Like the same age.
I get 60 seconds. Rocco's Modern Life is incredible. I want to talk about specifically the episode where they talk about recycling. So there's an episode of Rocco's Modern Life that is entirely about recycling, and they have a song which I would like to sing for you right now. RECYCLE, recycle. CONSERVE, conserve. Don't do POLLUTE, pollute the ocean, sky, or sea, or else you're gonna get what you deserve. And I don't remember the second verse. But it's a whole song about recycling, and it's really important. And I also remember this is the reason why I don't love soy sauce, because there's an episode where Filbert gets a cake and he pours soy sauce all over it, and it really grossed me out, but it stuck with me. And then there's also an episode where they teach a lot of values. There's an episode about not eating so much choky chicken, where Heifer gets a chicken stuck in his throat and he goes to heck, which also taught me about the morality of life and our mortal coils.
You don't like soy sauce because you saw somebody use it incorrectly.
In a cartoon.
Like
that.
Perfect. Well, Sean did use his Hilda Dion. Thank you for using it. Because he used it at a vote, we will be doing a revote to see if he has swayed anyone. If anybody tuned into our Blockbuster episode, this can happen. So
I can't imagine that was going to sway anyone. But
a revote. Here we go. Hands up if you are voting
The fact that my mom didn't let me
for
watch
Rocco's Modern Life. Hands up for Rocco's Modern Life. I'm so sorry, but Courage the Cowardly Dog moves on.
Oh,
I genuinely did not see that one coming either.
We did it, you guys.
Something amazing. As we move down to our last section, I will now be hosting the show solo because Sean is running into the rain. Oh, he's back. All right. Moving on to the adult section. Not only are these shows about adults, but the humor is probably aimed a little bit higher as well. We have The Simpsons versus King of the Hill.
So I'm going to say right off the bat, I am going to abstain. I'm going to abstain from this vote. I know my true heart of hearts, but I've had people talk to me about how hard this was for them, and I want to throw this to the audience. So right now, type in either the words Simpsons or King of the Hill or whatever. I'm going to tally your votes. So the audience will vote for me in this one. Take it away.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. I mean, I grew up on The Simpsons. I watched it for every day. I didn't have cable growing up, so it was like the cartoon I watched from the age of like 7 up. And this is really difficult. This is incredibly difficult, and I don't think that this decision can be taken lightly. But I've thought about this a lot since seeing the bracket. And while Simpsons is prolific, and it looks like everybody is, oh, Matt Burns says the new Simpsons seasons are trash. That's true. For me, King of the Hill is, from start to finish, again, just this beautifully packaged show that has really good character development. It has really perfect social commentary. It really hits the nail on the head of like making fun of like American deep South conservatism without like making it nasty or mean, but just like really like takes into account and questions it. And while The Simpsons has served as like a really important social commentary of, the last 30 years or however long it's been on, I think that King of the Hill is the better show.
That's fair. I love everything you just said. I don't think I disagree with you. I think The Simpsons did things that no other show has done and really led the path for a lot of shows to follow. But what you get in a package from King of the Hill is arguably better when you get something from a show that has run the longest any show has ever run on television. So you have the best ever from The Simpsons, but you also have some of the not best. As somebody said in the comments, the newer seasons are not great. There's like that golden age. If we were talking strictly golden age Simpsons, it's a no-brainer, but you have to think about the whole show. So that makes this vote really, really tough because King of the Hill is a wonderful, wonderful show. And if you have not seen King of the Hill, please go figure out where it's streaming.
Hulu.
Watch some episodes. Hulu, there you go. Akmal, Tony, anything you guys want to say on these?
It is a tough decision. I mean, I was actually leaning more towards Simpsons because of its like legacy and its impact, but you guys have made some pretty good arguments because I do love King of the Hill as well. And I will never not stop hearing about the episode where Hank gets a butt implant and my dad talks about it all the time. So, I mean, I'll go off of Dad. Yeah. I'm voting for King of the Hill for you.
Wow. So I'm going to say just two things. One, Simpsons, I love it, die hard for it every day of the week. But truly, the writer's room were all white Harvard grads giving each other jobs. And two, I don't know if this show's supposed to be family friendly, but the creator of The Simpsons was on an airplane he shouldn't be on. He shouldn't have been on. He got a foot massage from a person who shouldn't have been giving him a foot massage.
Matt Groening?
Yep. And then the person who gave him a foot massage said, I had to do a lot of stuff for the owner of the plane that I didn't like, but massaging Matt Groening's feet was probably the worst thing I've ever had to do because they are yellow and they are cracked and yeah.
Matt Groening famously modeled The Simpsons skin tone off of his own feet. We're
Truly,
just learning
yes.
now.
Wow.
It's hard. Sean,
So
do you know which way you're going to be voting from
the
the
audience?
audience?
Yeah, I have an answer.
All right, we got to move forward. We got to put it to a vote. Biggest vote of the whole night so far, probably. Hands up if you're voting for King of the Hill. Wow. I genuinely did not see it coming. The chat's gonna be ablaze.
Wow.
This is bananas. King of the Hill dethrones the Simpsons. This is quite
crazy.
Something.
I tried to get my dog to perch up in honor of Hank dog dancing with Lady Bird, but I'm a little sleepy right now.
That's truly
But I hope, if anything, this does show the people who maybe have never seen King of the Hill, maybe you should actually watch it because it deserves to move on. It's not a weirdly crazy upset. Sean, what's our new matchup as we move forward in the bracket now?
That was a crazy upset. I don't care what you say. Up next we have Family Guy versus Futurama. This one, I don't know. This is another tough one. I think of a Family Guy kind of how I think about The Simpsons. There was a time in my life that I really loved Family Guy, and I don't anymore at all. But I will say I don't love Futurama because I don't like the people online that like Futurama so much. This is something with me. I love things and I hate other people that love things a lot. I hate fandoms. And Futurama really hits me. Like, you can't get through like 10 minutes on Reddit without seeing some sort of a Futurama meme. And also, the episode with the dog can go away forever because I lost all the liquid in my body after crying after that episode. So this one's a tough one for me.
Futurama fans are almost as bad as like the what Rick and Morty fans did to Rick and Morty.
Okay,
smart.
this is getting aggressive.
Ouch! Yikes!
It's getting aggressive. I'm sorry. We should focus more on the show themselves.
Compare us to Rick and Morty fans. That's gross. Gross.
For me, this is a no-brainer. Family Guy was a great show as a kid, but it doesn't age well at all. Futurama is an incredible show. I just love that show. I don't know. I have a lot of emotional attachment to that show. The dog episode can go to heck, but it was also a great episode. The writing's wonderful. It's a show that ended and kept getting picked back up by popular demand, and it never detoured off too much of being a good show. So for me, it's obviously Futurama.
Yeah, it's Futurama for me as well. I've seen every episode of every season probably like 10 times now. Like, it's just kind of one of those things I just constantly have on. It's really smartly written. I love the sci-fi aspect of it. It's actually backed by people who have degrees in mathematics and science. And there's even one episode where they created a theorem from an episode. It's the Prisoner of Bendo one where they're trying to switch bodies. Incredible. It's called the Futurama theorem. That exists now because of that show. And I mean, great cast. I just love it. So shut up and take my vote.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Okay,
Yeah.
I understand.
We love it. No, we love it. We got to watch the time here, so we're going to push this right to a vote. So hands up if you're voting for Futurama.
Yeah, that's an obvious Futurama. Seth MacFarlane has an album of Broadway hits on Spotify. Don't listen to it. He's a freaking loser.
Which for his birthday, he invited his whole staff to a concert hall to listen to him perform it.
No.
All right, I don't like that. That is very weird.
Almost worse than being on the Lolita Express. All right.
The Cleveland show. We cannot forget that. We cannot forget.
All right, we got 17 minutes left, and we're halfway done the show, so let's do it.
All right, Rugrats versus Hey Arnold.
Oh, God, this is going to suck.
It doesn't suck.
It gets harder.
This one's easy for me. It's Hey Arnold. It's Hey Arnold. Rugrats is fine. Hey Arnold has stuck with me so much more than Rugrats. It's Hey Arnold for me, no question.
I feel like when we get down this far, I just have to make like kind of appearance-based decisions, and sometimes the babies creeped me out. The way they were drawn were creepy. So yeah, I would have to go Hey Arnold.
Yeah, Rugrats did put the fear of watermelon seeds and geese in.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I thought a watermelon would grow in my stomach. Also, shout out to someone in the comments earlier, the mini golf episode with the ice cream tower from the Rugrats.
Oh, yeah.
Very good episode. Again, I love the Rugrats so much, but it's Hey Arnold. It is Hey Arnold.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and vote.
All
right.
Oh, and then Doug, it's actually a three-way matchup. So if you're voting, voting, hands up if you're voting for Hey Arnold.
Hey Arnold is our
wow, second round sweep.
No one could vote for Doug. Sorry about that, Amanda. And we're moving forward.
Up next, we have Powerpuff Girls versus Pokemon.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is gonna be a clear one for me. Powerpuff Girls definitely over Pokemon. Just because Pokemon has also been on the air for 20 years, and like any show that's been on the air for 20 years, a lot of mistakes have been made. Ask Matt Groening and Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah. Ash Ketchum was once also on the Lolita Express, which you don't.
But he's supposed to be 7 at the.
He
start
was one of
show.
the victims.
Yeah, he was working.
He was working.
All right, we got to move by that.
No.
And sweep the scene.
All right, hands up for Powerpuff Girls.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, this might be long.
What's the next? What's our next?
I just have to say the reason he wore fingerless gloves. Anyways,
Okay,
let's
next
move on.
up we have SpongeBob SquarePants versus Courage the Cowardly Dog.
I said everything I wanted to say about
SpongeBob.
Courage before. Courage is a wonderful show, but it doesn't even come close to what SpongeBob is and will always be. So, in lieu of time, I think this is just a vote.
Yeah.
If anybody's got a
To be
hill to
fair,
die on,
SpongeBob would have beat Rocco too. Like had those
Correct.
been a match.
Yeah.
I also agree with that. Yeah.
I would have I would have gone Rocco here.
Well,
Interesting. Well, let's vote. Hands up for SpongeBob. Clean sweep. We love to see it.
I'd love to see it.
Next up, the Dark Horse, King of the Hill versus Futurama. What we got?
This is interesting. I didn't predict this matchup.
No one did. Not a single person.
Nope.
You thought it would be what, Simpsons and Family Guy?
No, I thought it would have been Simpsons Futurama.
Yeah, as did I.
I thought, honestly, when I filled my bracket out, I had Simpsons winning without even thinking. Simpsons winning the whole thing without even thinking about it. Like Pat and I almost didn't include the Simpsons because we thought that it was going to win, like, without even questioning it. Like, a lot of people, I posted this bracket online and asked what people's winners were, and the Simpsons was by far the number one answer. So
See, that was for me, except it was King of the Hill. I looked at it and I was like, oh, King of the Hill is the obvious winner of this.
And yes,
I love
Ralph, Avatar did not make it. I'm still upset. Look, King of the Hill is a wonderful show. Like we said before, its package is a perfect show. For me, though, I'm going to have to go off personal bias, which is that I just watched Futurama way more than King of the Hill.
Mhm.
I respect what King of the Hill is as a show. It's great topicalness. It's wonderful writing. It's great character arcs. I just liked Futurama better. I liked the world it built better. I liked the imaginatory future. And it also can be socially retrospective in a lot of ways. So I love Futurama for all of its pros and cons. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. Sticking with that Futurama for
Would
sure.
it be too?
Came back from the dead twice too. That's pretty insane, right? Came back as movies and a little DVD set, and then it came back on Comedy Central. Can't kill it.
Like
And
Jesus.
it's a cycle. It's a cycle, baby.
Much
The last
like Jesus.
episode makes
Like
you start
Jesus.
the other one. It's amazing. It's beautiful. Mwah.
Mhm. I'd love to give my vote to the audience because I feel like I've been aggressively voting against them. So,
all right. So, audience, you have about 30 seconds or so to vote either King of the Hill or Futurama. I think some people have already been voting, so I'm going to scroll up. I'm going to start counting. Does anyone want to talk about these shows for another 30 seconds or so?
Yeah, I mean, I love Futurama. I really do. I genuinely love it. Actually, I was a philosophy major in college, and there were several times I would come into philosophical society meetings to do a presentation. And at the end of my presentation, someone would raise their hand and say, I think there was a Futurama episode about this, actually. It's an incredibly philosophical show. It is very smartly written and well written. But for me, I can watch King of the Hill over and over and over and over again, like nonstop. Sometimes I think Futurama can be a little up its own ass as far as thinking that it's smart. And it is smart, but I think that King of the Hill is very well written and smart in a different way and is just composed as a better show. I mean, I have to say King of the Hill, if it comes down to it, and this is close, King of the Hill will be my hill to die on.
Oh, okay.
Just real quick, Lauren, you said you were in a philosophy class and people brought up Futurama. So you guys are exactly like Rick and Morty fans.
Yeah, it wasn't just a class, it was an entire major. So it was.
Yeah. Adam, Disenchanted was not in the bracket because this is focusing on 90s and 2000s cartoons.
Also good shows. So
Yeah, also,
we do have two late votes for Popeyes, the chicken restaurant. Which, if anyone tuned in last week, you saw Alex Russin have a meltdown on a live stream because Popeyes didn't win.
Okay, I'll take that.
I do have a winner for Akmal.
No, Popeyes.
Okay, never mind. So, okay, great. I'll be voting. All right, let's go ahead and vote, Pat. I'll be voting for myself and the audience.
All right.
He loved his wife.
Hands up if we're voting for King of the Hill. So that is 3-2. King of the Hill beats Futurama.
Wow.
Okay,
Moving
and then
forward.
Just a quick room temp. Popeyes, where is everybody at?
Akmal, clearly you haven't been watching our shows. You would know that Popeyes lost in the fast food bracket, and it did upset many, but Taco Bell was the rightful winner. So, moving to our next matchup, Sean, what do we got?
We have in the finals on the left, or the semifinals, we have Hey Arnold versus the Powerpuff Girls.
Dang, that's a good
This
match.
is a tough one. This is a tough one. I will be honest, I didn't watch a whole lot of Powerpuff Girls. My vote is going to be for Hey Arnold on this one. I don't know. I don't know much to say here. I'd love to hear from other people who love both of these shows.
Yep.
Well, I mean, obviously, I know where I'm heading, but Powerpuff Girls was just a more exciting show to watch than Hey Arnold. If I had a choice between the two, I definitely would have chosen Powerpuff Girls. I mean, there's a lot of comedy in it. There's a lot of action. There's also a lot of like one of my favorite episodes of Powerpuff Girls was the Beatles episode, which I think Molly had mentioned. Like in the comments, there was a villain episode about the Beatles where they called themselves the Beatles, and I love that episode. And I was like 11 years old when that came out, and I felt so cool to recognize all those references in that episode that were in for Beatles. I mean, that stuck with me, and I remember that like clear as day. So it's Powerpuff Girls. It is.
I'm sorry, I can't get over Sam's comment that says, "Remember, you eliminated the Simpsons to talk about Hey Arnold." No.
Yep.
Oh
What are you going to say about the Simpsons? Oh, they parodied another political event.
I will say this. If we get enough likes or hate in the chat, we will do an entire Simpsons bracket. We will pick the top 16.
They predict the future. They freaking did it. Simpsons did it. Come on.
Oh boy, I don't know how this vote's gonna go. Depending on how the vote goes, I might have a hill to die on. So
let's go ahead and vote.
Put it to a vote. Hands up if you're voting for Hey Arnold.
And the boys win again.
Boys beat out the girls show. I'm so sorry, everyone.
I want a hill.
And
Can I use my hill?
Tony's
to die
tapping
on?
in her hill to die on. Tony,
Can I just use
go for
it? Can I just use it to talk
Go
about
for it.
Powerpuff Girls? Okay, great. I want to commemorate Powerpuff Girls. It's been a big show that's impacted my life. This little girl right here, love Powerpuff Girls with all her might. This photo frame has been untouched since I put this in here. Okay, like I love Powerpuff Girls. When I went to daycare one summer, we all decided to dress up like the Powerpuff Girls on every Tuesday and Thursday. And I was Bubbles. I wore pigtails, a blue t-shirt, some blue Softy shorts, and just a loose black belt just floating there. There's no belt loops. And we acted out every single episode because we memorized them. That's how in-depth it is. I'm a little teary. Oh my God. I love Powerpuff Girls so much. And, you know, they will always save the world before bedtime in my eyes. So, that's that.
We love you, girls.
That was a really nice speech.
I feel like an asshole, so.
Moving on, we got SpongeBob SquarePants versus King of the Hill, which will determine the final to go up against Hey Arnold. It feels like we've talked a lot about these shows. Does anyone have anything they want to speak on?
I didn't even think that would be a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, SpongeBob it gets into Simpsons realm of a show that lasted so long it became its own worst enemy in some ways. So I think it just comes down to personal preference between these shows.
Makes you think.
I think this is one where in my brain I'm comparing like the cultural impact. Like SpongeBob, everybody knows what SpongeBob is, but King of the Hill is, I'm just gonna say it, definitely the better show. It's better written. It's like from a comedy standpoint. SpongeBob's more for kids. Like let's be honest, it's the grown-up region versus the animals region. But King of the Hill is, it beat out the dang Simpsons. It's incredible. I'm gonna go with King of the Hill, personally.
I'm so stressed out right now. I'm so stressed out.
Do you want to give your vote to the audience?
I mean, at this point, okay. Like, I
All
mean,
right.
we're between King of
Audience.
the Hill, Hey Arnold, and SpongeBob for the 90s and the early 2000s. That's what it's coming down to now.
You know, I did show someone this bracket, and they said this isn't really a bracket of what the best show is. It's a bracket of what your preference for a show is. And this is kind of what this is coming down to. What is your preference for a show? And I mean, at this point in my life, I mean, I work with SpongeBob every single day. He's our Mickey Mouse. We put him all over the world. People love him. Like, SpongeBob is an international phenomenon. He has taken the entire world by storm. I mean, they know, every single country knows who SpongeBob is. I mean, we have a freaking SpongeBob water slide in Malaysia. Like, it's everywhere.
Bigger than Jesus.
Bigger than Jesus. That being said, I would much rather watch an episode of King of the Hill than I would SpongeBob at this point in my life. Is it because I'm like oversaturated? I don't know. I love the SpongeBob memes. I love the culture around SpongeBob. I love what he's done for kids. I know a lot of parents think he's annoying, but I mean, King of the Hill is my all-time, you know? Dale Gribble.
Dale Gribble.
Samuel, I just turned 28 last week, so thanks for that comment.
Yeah, I'm 28. So what? Suck my young butt.
Oh my god.
Suck on my
You can't say that.
butt.
Wow.
Wow. My dad does make a good point. Does any other show have a Broadway play? I don't
Is that
think
a
so.
vote against
Doug
it
did
or
have a
vote for it?
Broadway style show at the Disney MGM studios that was absolutely butt. So,
And also, to all of you throwing hate in the chat, again, we love it. So if you
Mm.
think you're like throwing a wrench into the machine that is the Bracket Brothers, that's straight up oil, baby, and we've never run smoother. So just give us the hate because we love it so much. I'm sorry this bracket isn't living up to your expectations, but neither does life.
All
So
right,
get
we only
on
have
with it.
we got
Here
a couple
we go.
minutes. We got to
Put
vote.
it to a vote. Hands up if you are voting for King of the Hill. Wow. And it
Can't
takes
believe
down
it.
SpongeBob. I
And
didn't
we
see
are
it
down
coming.
to the clear two that everyone had. Hey Arnold versus King of the Hill, the two greatest shows of the 90s and 2000s. I can't wait to post this online for everyone to realize how great this live stream is. Oh my word.
Sean, I'd like a hill to die on, please.
All right, great. You get 1 minute.
Listen up to me, you coward. I told you I was going to destroy this show, and god damn it, I did it effortlessly. I didn't even have to try or argue. Everyone just played it in my hands. The show is ashes. It's been crushed under my New York City Timbs. I put on my big old snow boots and I stomped this show straight the heck. Don't you ever doubt me when I say I'm going to destroy something. I'm going to kill it because I'm the freaking Joker, baby. I'm wild and crazy. And you're Danny DeVito or Robert De Niro.
No, we're Danny DeVito.
You're Danny DeVito. You're the penguin. You're the loser. You're a loser penguin cobblepot. And now just a moment of silence for a little bit.
He does. He didn't surrender his time. So he
You're
does.
using the rest of your time to be silent?
Yeah. This is unfortunate. It's part of the rules.
It is part of the rules.
And time. All
So
right.
just,
Thank you.
just a quick background. When I invited Akmal, my friend who lives in New York, to do the show, he said yes, and then subtly, in parentheses, he said, "I'm going to destroy this show." And I didn't know what that meant. And unfortunately, we did just get a whiff of that. That was terrible. Right.
I would like to die on a hill.
Okay, go for it.
Great.
I got your timer.
You
Wait,
got my
hold on.
timer. Great. The obvious choice here is Hey Arnold, and this is why. King of the Hill is a wonderful, clever, and smart show, but I would be lying if I told you I've seen every episode of King of the Hill, and I think most people would be lying if they told you they've seen every episode of King of the Hill. It's a great show, and everyone should watch it. But Hey Arnold tackled things that were really important to me as kids, especially it gave a life view on somebody growing up in a city. It dealt with weird things that I would have never experienced as a kid, like being mugged, walking to school, taking a bus to get to school, an inner city bus, learning excellent karate. It taught you a lot of emotional levels of things, but it also created a universe that was a wonderful interpretation of multiple cities and the things kids go through in inner cities. It told the story of a kid being raised in a house without parents, in a house that he had roommates with, essentially. It was an interesting dynamic of a kid and a story that hasn't been told before. And I appreciate everybody laughing at me while I'm telling this very emotional thing about why I love Hey Arnold. So everyone can suck my butt. Hey Arnold is the better show.
And time. That's from Pat Rice.
It was just because you said you were like talking about like, emotional stuff, and then you go, it also taught karate. And it was just so weird. I don't know why you said
He learned karate for self-defense because he got mugged. Watch the show.
Listen, Pat and I grew up in the hard inner city streets of Newtown, Pennsylvania. So it's definitely it speaks to us as kids growing up on a literal farm, not near any muggers or karate doers. I think it's time to vote. Please put your hands in the air if you'd like to vote for Hey Arnold. And hands up for King of the Hill. King of the Hill is the literal king of the hill in this case. I don't know what to tell everyone. King of the Hill has won. It's what everyone assumed would happen. Does anyone have any last words?
The show's canceled.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I would like to say.
I can't believe it. King of the Hill. All right.
It's amazing. This is what live theater is, folks. You come to the theater, the Zoom theater, and this is what it does to you. Before we unveil what next week's bracket is, does anyone want to plug anything? Anyone want to shout anything out? Our guests, thank you guys so much for being here.
Yeah. Follow me on Twitter. And also the Lab Rats are doing a variety hour on either August 24th or August 26th. I don't know which one. But Tony and I have a sketch in it, and it's exceptional. So you should watch that as well.
Heck yeah. Shout out Lab Rats. Shout out Zach Lab Rats. Tony, what you got?
I think I have one more picture to show people.
Oh, that's true. We do have one more. This was a show that did get cut, but we wanted to put it up anyway.
Yeah, Dexter and Dee Dee.
Love that.
I was Dexter.
And you were Dexter.
Ruben.
Great.
Yeah, my friend Ruben was Dee Dee. Yeah.
Unfortunately, Dexter's Lab did get booted by the Powerpuff Girls, so that's why it's not here. Akmal, anything you want to plug?
Send all your hate to me on Twitter. I love it. Fun fact about me, I'm motivated by it. Gets me going in the morning. It's my cup of joe. What else? That's it, really. I mean, I'm in New York. Stuff is still shut down, really. I don't have much going on.
Akmal, do you want to plug your Twitter handle, maybe, so they know where to send the hate?
I'll figure it out. You want to come at me? My first and last name. I'm sure I'm tagged somewhere.
Amazing. So, Pat, do you want to explain what next week is and why it's such a big deal?
So, thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Bracket Brothers. Thank you to our guests. Next week, same time, same place, we will be doing our first of a 3-part series, not in a row, but part 1 of our theme park attractions bracket. Next week will be Disney-specific attractions. So, Walt Disney World, top 16 attractions, where we will break down what is the best Disney ride, and then eventually we will be doing a Universal bracket, and then we will be doing those against each other, taking our winners and talking about that. So if you like theme parks, come back next week. If you don't like theme parks, come back next week. You don't have a choice.
That's it. Thank you guys for joining. SAC Comedy Lab is open for business. They got shows Fridays and Saturdays. Go check them out. It's super safe. Masks on. And we'll see you next week. See ya!
Go vote!